December 29, 2023, News Report 1. Xinhua News Agency reports that on December 29, the Standing Committee of the National People's Congress decided to appoint former Navy Commander Dong Jun as the Minister of National Defense. China's former Minister of National Defense, Li Shangfu, was relieved of his duties in October this year, leaving the position of Minister of National Defense vacant since then. This marks the first time since the establishment of the People's Republic of China in 1949 that a Navy commander has been appointed as the Minister of National Defense, a role traditionally held by the Army. This signifies an increased role for the Navy in the national defense system. Dong Jun, 62 years old and a native of Yantai, Shandong, entered the Dalian Naval Academy in 1978. He held various positions in the Navy Command, including Director of Military Training, Deputy Chief of Staff of the North Sea Fleet, and Commander of Navy Forces. In 2012, Dong Jun was promoted to Rear Admiral. In 2013, he became the Deputy Commander of the East Sea Fleet. In 2017, he served as the Deputy Commander of the Southern Theater Command. In 2020, he was promoted to Navy Commander, attaining the rank of Admiral. His rapid promotion during the 10 years of Xi Jinping's tenure as Central Military Commission Chairman is noteworthy. In addition, the Standing Committee of the National People's Congress announced the revocation of the delegate qualifications of 9 senior PLA officers. This includes Deputy Chief of the Joint Staff Department of the Central Military Commission Zhang Zhenzhong, Deputy Minister of the Equipment Development Department of the Central Military Commission Zhang Yuling, Rao Wen-min, Deputy Commander of the Southern Theater Command Zhu Xinchuan, Air Force Commander Ding Liehang, Rocket Force Commander Li Yuchao, Deputy Commander Li Guangchuan, and Zhou Yening, as well as Equipment Department Minister Lu Hong. This news indicates that these officers have been purged, and the revocation of delegate qualifications implies that they are no longer holding any significant positions. The dismissal of both current and former commanders of the Rocket Force almost symbolizes a comprehensive cleansing of the Rocket Force, reflecting a certain degree of mistrust by Xi Jinping towards the military, possibly related to issues of leaks and equipment troubles. Additionally, the Standing Committee of the National People's Congress approved the schedule for next year's 2 sessions, providing more autonomy to the top leaders of the Chinese Communist Party. Taiwan was not mentioned in the speeches of Xi Jinping and other party and state leaders at the New Year's Day meeting. News Report 2. The Taiwan non-governmental organization Environmental Change and Research Center released a report on December 29, pointing out that official Chinese media consider Taiwanese political commentators as tools of public opinion and use them to intervene in Taiwan's elections as part of information warfare. The report analyzed the official Douyin channels with the highest citations of Taiwanese commentators from July 1 to September 30 this year. The most cited commentators included Jia Wenxi, Lai Yuqian, Guo Zhengliang, Kai Xingyuan, Shui Huaming, Xia Hanbing, Tang Xianglong, Zhao Xiaokong, Li Zhengjie, and Wang Hongwei. Among the programs hosted by these commentators, 41.8% of the topics were related to criticizing the United States, emphasizing that the U.S. would not help Taiwan, 12.7% criticized Japan for discharging nuclear wastewater, aligning with China's foreign ministry's stance, 11.9% praised Huawei, aligning with Xinhua News Agency's viewpoint. The report highlighted that these Taiwanese commentators' views align with the Chinese Communist Party's perspective, aiming to assist China in shaping a biased image of Taiwan. The report cautioned Taiwanese people to be cautious while watching online short videos to avoid being exploited by Chinese media. On the other hand, a survey conducted by the China Asia-Pacific Elite Exchange Association on December 29 showed that 43.6% of Taiwanese people believe that China's intervention in Taiwan's elections is very serious. The survey, conducted from December 25 to 27, interviewed 1,025 adults. The results also showed that 43.6% of respondents considered China's intervention serious, 25.2% thought the U.S. intervention was serious, and 25% had no clear opinion. Analysts suggest that these individuals may be targeted by China. Additionally, the survey revealed that the three presidential candidates have similar levels of support, with about 15% of respondents undecided or unwilling to disclose their positions. This indicates that the 2024 election will be a fiercely contested and unpredictable battle. In terms of campaign activities, both Lai Ching-te and Tsai Ing-wen held online campaign rallies, while Ho Yui and James Sung assisted Kuomintang legislators. Ko Wen-jae stated that the election had not officially started, and he wanted to see whether voter enthusiasm would be aroused in the last 2 days before the vote. Furthermore, the Taiwan Central Election Commission requested that media outlets not release poll results after January 3, 2023. News Report 3. According to a recent report by Goldman Sachs, the report predicts that the Federal Reserve will cut interest rates at least 5 times next year, lowering the federal funds rate to the range of 3.25% to 3.5%, and will undergo 3 rounds of rate cuts in 2025. Goldman Sachs expects the rate cuts to take place in March, May, and June next year, with each cut being 25 basis points, followed by 1 cut in the third quarter and 1 in the fourth quarter. This forecast differs significantly from Goldman Sachs' prediction in November, when it believed there would be only 1 rate cut next year, and it would not occur until the second half of the year. The new Goldman Sachs report indicates that the unexpected cooling of U.S. inflation suggests that the inflation level is approaching 2%. The report anticipates that the Federal Reserve will cut interest rates early and swiftly. With substantial rate cuts, credit growth in U.S. banks will accelerate again, preventing an economic recession. Goldman Sachs had been emphasizing the possibility of a recession, but this new report suggests that, due to the cooling of inflation, the U.S. economy will avoid a downturn, representing a shift in its previous stance. The report also points out that next year being an election year, fiscal policy is likely to lean towards expansion. Goldman Sachs believes that against this backdrop, the U.S. economy will achieve a GDP growth rate of 2% in the fourth quarter of 2025, and personal consumption expenditures, PCE, will decline to 2.2%. As a relatively aggressive investment bank, Goldman Sachs' views are closely watched in the industry. News Report 4. As of December 29, 2023, reviewing the performance of the stock market this year, A-shares have shown an overall downward trend. The Shanghai Composite Index fell by 3.7%, the Shenzhen Component Index dropped by 3.7%, the CSI 300 Index declined by 13.54%, and the Chi-Next Index plummeted by 19.42%. The Chinese stock market has experienced 2 consecutive years of decline. Specifically, as of the closing on that day, the Shanghai Composite Index was at 2,974 points. Although it rose by 20 points compared to the previous trading day, it still failed to return above 3,000 points. The CSI 300 Index reported 9,524 points, an increase of 83 points from the previous trading day. In the entire internet industry, the total turnover of A-shares in the 2 markets this year was 211 trillion yuan, a year-on-year decrease of 5.48%, continuing a 3-year downward trend. The Hang Seng Index closed at 17,047 points on the last trading day, down 2,734 points from the closing price last year, with a decrease of 14.8%. This also marks the 4th consecutive year of decline for the Hang Seng Index, indicating relatively weak performance. Among blue-chip stocks, the worst-performing companies this year include Li Ning, Country Garden Services, and Meituan. Country Garden Services' stock price fell by 50%, while Li Ning fell by 70%. This indicates that some companies in the property management and internet industries faced significant pressure and challenges in this year's market environment. News Report 5. According to a report released by the 5th National People's Congress Legal Work Committee on December 26, it emphasized that individuals should bear responsibility for illegal activities, and it should not implicate others. This viewpoint underscores the fundamental principles of modern rule of law, stating that one should be accountable for their own actions without involving others. Although a tradition of misfortune not affecting family members exists in Chinese history, there are still instances of collective punishment for close relatives since the establishment of the People's Republic of China. The Legal Work Committee of the National People's Congress stated that it would urge relevant authorities to abolish such practices. It also supports supervisory units in conducting self-inspections nationwide to prevent and avoid such situations. This initiative aims to promote the rule of law, emphasizing the individualization and fairness of legal responsibilities. However, the phenomenon of coercive governance still exists in China. For example, some individuals undergo political scrutiny due to the unfavorable records of their family members, resulting in unfair treatment in areas such as employment and education. Recent cases include a 6-year-old girl in Jiangsu affected by her father's imprisonment and a woman in Changzhou, Hebei facing political scrutiny in a civil service exam due to her father's past incarceration. Recently, there have been concerns about the coercion in governance, particularly highlighted by the Hong Kong police's investigation of the parents of Agnes Chow, the Secretary-General of Demozisto. These situations reflect the political scrutiny issue in China, where some individuals face unfair treatment due to their family backgrounds. The release of the report indicates attention to this issue and calls for reform in relevant mechanisms to promote social justice and the rule of law. News Report 6. According to data released by the United States Census Bureau on December 28, the global population increased by 75 million this year, and it is expected to reach 8 billion by New Year's Day. The global population growth rate this year is slightly below 1%, with the U.S. population growth rate at 0.53%, only half of the global growth rate. This year, the U.S. population increased by 1.7 million, and it is projected to reach 335 million by New Year's Day in 2024. According to estimates by the U.S. Census Bureau, one person will be born in the United States every second next year, and one person will die every 9 seconds. However, immigration will continue to have a positive impact on the U.S. population, preventing a population decline. Overall, considering births, deaths, and international migration, the U.S. population will increase by one person every 24 seconds. These data provide important insights into global and U.S. population dynamics, guiding policy development and planning. News Report 7. The South Korean government announced on December 29 that it would start attracting foreign labor to the hotel, apartment, and restaurant industries from next year. This means that foreign workers will have the opportunity to work in these sectors, including hotel and apartment management, as well as restaurant services. Since the introduction of foreign labor in 2004, South Korea has allowed foreign workers to participate in various sectors such as manufacturing, shipbuilding, agriculture, fisheries, construction, and services. Now, South Korea is expanding the scope of foreign labor, especially in the hotel and restaurant industries. Seoul, Busan, Gangwon Province, and North Jeolla Province will launch a demonstration project allowing hotels and restaurants to hire foreign workers for cleaning and kitchen work. The government will assess these pilot projects to determine whether to further expand the scope. South Korea also plans to increase the number of foreign workers, with the Ministry of Employment and Labor deciding to introduce 165,000 foreign workers from next year, setting a new record, and planning to continue expanding recruitment in the future. South Korea faces challenges of aging and declining birth rates, leading to a sharp decrease in the working age population. To address this issue, the South Korean government is taking comprehensive measures to increase the participation of foreign workers, ensuring the labor needs of various industries are met. News Report 8. According to reports from Kyodo News, the China National Medical Products Administration recently conducted a surprise inspection of the Japanese hair dye manufacturer Friend Company, using a flying inspection method. Such surprise inspections by the Chinese government across departments on foreign companies are extremely rare. Officials from the NMPA conducted a video inspection of Friend Company's factory in Aichi Prefecture, Japan. In November, the NMPA accused Friend Company's hair dye of violating Chinese cosmetic regulations. The Shanghai Food and Drug Administration has already initiated an investigation into the matter. The NMPA stated in a press release that if the Shanghai FDA finds any issues during the inspection, it should order Friend Company to immediately cease illegal activities and rectify them. The head of Friend Company responded, stating that they willingly accepted the flying inspection and would take appropriate measures according to the guidance of relevant departments. While expressing voluntary cooperation, it may be challenging for them to resist inspections and requests from the Chinese government in the Chinese market. News Report 9. Graphics chip manufacturer NVIDIA announced on December 29 that it is launching a graphics card specifically designed for the Chinese market. The graphics card, named 4090D, is designed for graphic rendering and image processing. The product will be available for delivery starting January next year, with a price tag of 12,900 yuan. This move is a response to the strengthened export restrictions on Chinese chips by the U.S. Department of Commerce in October. Due to the U.S. government's export restrictions on the 4090 graphics chip, NVIDIA engaged with the U.S. government during the development process. Their solution was to launch the 4090D to meet the requirements of the U.S. government. Although the performance of the 4090D is 11% lower than the 4090, it still complies with the Department of Commerce's requirements. NVIDIA plans to start shipping the product in January next year. NVIDIA's graphics cards have consistently been among the best on the market, and the launch of the 4090D further consolidates its position in the Chinese market. Last year, NVIDIA's revenue in China reached $7.1 billion, accounting for 26% of its global revenue. NVIDIA founder Jensen Huang has emphasized the significance of the Chinese market for them, and thus, the introduction of chips customized for the Chinese market is expected to be successful. News Report 10. In 2023, China's car export volume is expected to surpass Japan, making it the world's largest car exporter. According to data released by the Japan Automobile Manufacturers Association, as of November, Japan's car exports reached 3.99 million vehicles. In comparison, data from the China Association of Automobile Manufacturers shows that during the same period, China's car exports reached 4.41 million vehicles, showing a significant surge of 58.4%. Specifically, within China's car exports, traditional fuel vehicles reached 3.32 million units, representing a 51% growth, while electric vehicles reached 1.09 million units, showing an 83% growth. China's traditional fuel vehicles are mainly exported to Russia and other countries, while electric vehicles are primarily sold to Mexico, Europe, and Southeast Asia. In the global electric vehicle market this year, BYD's sales have grown the fastest, surpassing Tesla. According to data, in the third quarter of 2023, BYD's electric vehicle sales were only 3,000 units behind Tesla, and it is expected to surpass Tesla in the fourth quarter, becoming the leading brand in the global electric vehicle market. However, the European Union initiated an anti-subsidy investigation into Chinese electric cars in October. If the EU determines that Chinese electric cars have enhanced export competitiveness through subsidies, it may impose punitive tariffs. This investigation could impact the development of Chinese electric cars in the European market. News Report 11. On December 29, the Beijing High People's Court issued a first-instance judgment, ruling that Alibaba abused its market dominance and must pay 1 billion yuan in compensation to JD.com. This case involves a clothing brand that withdrew its venue resources from JD.com due to pressure from a certain platform on the eve of the 2015 Double 11 shopping festival, and JD.com filed an anonymous report accusing Alibaba of engaging in either-or behavior. Specifically, Alibaba was accused of monopolistic behavior implementing either-or practices since 2013 through exclusive agreements and exclusive cooperation, restricting merchants from participating in JD.com activities. The judgment requires Alibaba to pay JD.com 1 billion yuan in compensation. Alibaba stated that it respects the court's decision. It's worth noting that this is not the first recent antitrust issue Alibaba has faced. In April 2021, the China State Administration for Market Regulation investigated Alibaba for implementing either-or behavior and eventually fined the company 18.2 billion yuan. In addition, on December 29, the Chinese government approved the establishment of 2 nuclear power stations in Taipingling, Guangdong, and Jin-7Men, Zhejiang. These are the 9th and 10th nuclear power stations approved by China this year, indicating active development of nuclear power energy. China currently has 56 nuclear power stations in operation, 28 under construction, and nuclear power generation capacity accounts for 5% of the country's total electricity generation. The construction of nuclear power stations has raised some concerns, particularly regarding nuclear safety issues.